Welcome to the Destiny of Manufacturing podcast, live at FABTECH 2024 here on the Metal Form floor. We're glad to have you with us and joining us today. I have with me from the Precision Metal Forming Association an outstanding person who has been here for 2 stints, I guess, right?
Yeah, two stints. What
Great
do they
to
call
have
that? The boomerang?
The boomerang
The boomerang,
effect.
yeah. Yep.
Randy Kish, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Dean. It's exciting, man. It's really great. I'd like to say welcome to you for coming and wanting to be a part of PMA. I think it was, May
Yes.
that you came in. And it's phenomenal. You and I worked together for a while at both sides of the fence. It's fantastic to have had the industry experience, but also now, taking that and having it as part of PMA. I think that perspective is invaluable when we're trying to support our members.
Yeah, no question about it.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit now. I know that you're responsible for the districts. Tell everybody kind of what that means.
Okay, all right. Well, officially my title is Member Engagement Manager, right? And that's kind of more of a broad title, broad position, role, if you will. And it's just kind of starting from that level. When you think of PMA, the membership is made up of companies. We have a company membership, right? And that means that every member, every employee of that company is a member. So it's unique. I know there are other similar models out there, but you also see a lot of associations or societies with individual memberships, and you can cater to that individual. We're supporting a company, and we're supporting the employees and individuals within that company. So there are a lot of touch points that we have with our members, whether it be from the executive level or down into the shop floor, the middle management and such. We have the unique opportunity to develop all of those employees. We have a unique opportunity to engage all of them. And that's really my role, is to try to work with our staff, work with our member companies, and see how we can get, the 5, 6, 7, 10 most valuable positions in a company engaged in doing things with PMA.
Sure.
And so that to take it one step further now, I'm focusing on the districts right now, because the districts are the boots on the ground. They're, that's where the action happens, where the actual value is seen from those other employees at a member company that can't typically come to a national event, can't do things, it just doesn't make sense. We need to reach them. And so it's through the districts that we can build that engagement.
Great. And of course, that is one of our biggest member benefits that people year in and year out talk about as being a benefit, is networking. And being able to connect with other people within the industry, whether it's manufacturer to manufacturer, manufacturer to supplier. There's a desire there to find out more about how to do things and how to do them well. What is your idea? Of course, this is the destiny of manufacturing, so therefore, what do you see changing over the next 5 years, whether it's from a member and district level or from just broad and reaching out to more districts? So.
Yeah, it's a great question, because I know we look at the industry, we look at the technologies that are evolving. What are we going to need to embrace as companies and managers and such in that respect? In my world, I'm looking at cultivating leaders. I'm looking at taking the how do we carry the future, the future employees, the future leaders of our industry. How do we get them moving forward, and what is that going to look like? And we're seeing a lot of it. We're seeing a lot of a younger generation coming into and wanting to embrace an association. I believe that the future I believe that employees of the future want to work. They want to be part of something that's bigger than their job. Like they want to feel like they belong. The company that they work for, they want to belong to a company that's responsible, okay, responsible to its industry, and wanting to share. I think valuing that aspect of their job as much as their day to day and their paycheck.
Yeah.
Because I do think that the younger people aren't necessarily as motivated. Everybody wants to get paid, but the motivation is having fulfillment in your job. And the members that belong to PMA, we see that all the time. Okay, we see, and I think it extends across associations, because it takes a certain company culture, a company philosophy to say, we're going to belong to an association, we're going to benefit from that association, that networking, that connection, and we're going to build that into our strategic success. And
Right.
we're going to use that networking, that association, to build our business, to educate our employees, to carry us in succession, year in, year out.
Yeah. And I like the way you put that, because that's one of the more interesting things I think about districts and their own individual identities.
Yep.
Each district has its own identity because it's a regional thing. So in some areas you have a strength in appliance, some other areas are strength in canning, some are a strength in automotive stamping. So because of that, there tends to be a regional flavor to each of these, and those personalities come through. What are some of the challenges that you see manufacturers being faced with in connecting with those districts?
Well, that's a tough question to answer. The challenges are really looking at being able to rely on the feedback that we get from our 17 districts. And as you mentioned, across North America, having the 17 districts, so from Canada and around the United States and in Mexico, being able, as the individual from national, listening to the unique challenges of each of our districts, as you mentioned. It could be, the appliance, and having a district that wants to meet the needs of our members in a different industry, and trying to come up with maybe programming, education, training that's going to match that particular need.
Right.
Okay, and then taking their input, their feedback, bringing it back, and working with people like you, or Connie, our Director of Workforce Development, or even our membership team, and saying, how can we help our district, again, our districts, and we can talk about that in a minute, how they're structured, help our district distribute solutions for our members in that area, that region.
Right.
And so we're trying to balance those challenges, because that uniqueness, you just have a combination of inputs that may not, they fit together, but again, you need to try to react to that uniqueness. And
Right.
that's a huge challenge of making sure that our members stay connected in things that are relevant to their unique needs.
Right. Right. And I'm sure you've heard this as we all have, and everybody in manufacturing is faced with workforce challenges, whether it's finding people, upskilling, or training the people that you have. Those are big challenges, and I know that you've done some initiatives with the districts to try and have them have a chair involved with that. So
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, a great benefit of being a PMA member, the professional development. That we, as an association, really focus on that aspect of an individual and their value to their company, their development. And we kind of have a great structure at PMA where using the districts also using some of the other development programs that we have at national, like the Management Development Academy, or even when we focus on human resources, or it could be the production managers. You're developing their individual skills for their position, but you're also developing their higher level, the leadership skills as well, so that you can advance within their company, their career. I believe it all starts at the district level, okay? And developing the future generation of leaders through volunteerism, all right? And so if we take the path, a company becomes a member of PMA. They've got their employees. We want to engage them, volunteer for the district, okay? You're going to get introduced to the industry, number one, in an applied fashion. What does that mean? The districts, they create events, they fundraise, they do outreach to the local schools, students, technical colleges. They put our young leaders in a position to experience the industry outside of their regular job. It gives them an opportunity to work within a team that has a cross-section of different experiences with the other offices of our district, different experiences, different job titles. So you may have a human resources manager volunteering, working on a team with the president of a company, or you may have a 23-year-old marketing or inside sales or something like that, new to the industry, working with an engineer has 30 years experience in the industry, and they're collaborating on scholarships, or they're collaborating on a plant tour, something that's going to educate other members, or students and such. That is the invaluable experience that you can't get, that individual isn't going to get in their day job.
Right.
It gets them out of that, it gets them introduced to new things, puts them in situations where they can build their acumen. So if you're a younger professional, you're working with somebody that is experienced, and it helps them become more comfortable and confident in their roles,
Yeah. Absolutely. I like the way you've described that, because building up, I used to say this when I was in the District of Tennessee, when I was a chair there, one of the things that I brought up all the time was we need to develop leaders. That's part of our role. That's part of our obligation, is not just to be here and go through and set up golf outings. Not that I'm not here to diminish golf outings. Golf outings are a great networking tool, and believe me, anybody who's ever gone to one, I know people that go to every single one of them because they like the networking aspect, because it's a quick way to network with 400 people in a single event. So it's worth it.
Yep.
But when you're talking about developing leaders, that's one of the things that you're in I always like to refer to it as a controlled environment to keep that you can't fail in. You're surrounded by other leaders, and they're there to help you. They want you to succeed. They want to help you to succeed. So by joining a district event and being part of a district, every single role is important, but being part of that will help you in your day-to-day job. I've seen people that have been leaders within our districts that went on to do great things within their company that led to promotions, etc.
That's right.
Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I can definitely. One of the things I like to put out there, statements, is that PMA's been around for nearly 85 years. Okay, with the American Stamping Association and transitioning to Precision Metal Forming Association, and during that entire time, we've always had our districts. There's always been that level of boots on the ground development, and bottom up, so to speak,
Yep.
and a lot of those leaders from those districts learned at that ground level, and I think maybe I can count on 3 fingers in that 80 years where one of the national chairs of the association didn't come from a district.
Right.
So most of our national leadership, almost all of it, right? I mean, let's say 77 out of 80 years or something like that. That chairman at the national level started their leadership and learning the industry from a district. So they're extremely influential, extremely powerful in helping develop a leader. Mm-hmm. The other thing about it is that our most successful members are highly engaged in the districts through an officer level. And our most successful members have been with us for 70, 65, 70, 80 years. I mean, out of the 900 member companies that we have at PMA, mm-hmm. There's definitely that core of 70, 80 member companies that have used the association, have used the opportunities through the districts and that development to carry their generations of family businesses and cultivate that next president. You can't get that anywhere else.
Right.
You cannot teach that in school. What happens is that they do, right? The kid's going to take over the business. Right. They go to school, they get their MBA, they got the business administration, but they know with PMA they already have a path of because PMA has built that kind of that leadership path. Do this, work PMA this way, and you're going to get the experience that you need to actually run that business within the constructs of how to survive, right? Because generations, not always can you make that leap.
No, you're
you
right.
know? And that's where I see how PMA fits into the longevity and growing business leaders mm-hmm. who are going to take over businesses, and typically a family business, which is the case with many of our members.
Right.
Randy,
thank you for being here on the show today. It's been a pleasure. Always great to have you on.
Yep.
And I want to thank everybody out there for watching the podcast and listening, if you're listening on one of the audio streaming formats. We have been the Destiny of Manufacturing podcast, powered by the Precision Metal Forming Association, and live here in Orlando at FABTECH from the Metal Forming Pavilion.